helping local businesses as they deal with the pandemic. The Emmy-winning show Startup is back for an 8th season on PBS. Joining us now is the founder and executive producer of Startup, Gary Prado, like rhymes with Play-Doh, Prado.
Close enough. It's all good. I'll answer anything.
Thanks so much, Gary, for being here. I'm so excited about this. Tell us about the show.
Well, it's a national television series that focuses solely on small business, like basically how they started up to the present, and takes a very sort of personal approach into why they started it, how they started it, and digs really deep.
So then you add the element of the pandemic, and you're really focused on how hard hit these businesses are. So tell me about just shooting this amid the pandemic, and talk about the local businesses you highlighted.
Yeah, the season is going to be kind of a bit of a time capsule, because anyone you're talking to has been affected in one way or another by the pandemic. And small business, some a lot more than others. So there's this sort of umbrella over the season, but it's fascinating to see how businesses are, being resilient and starting to pivot in different directions and being very successful.
And tell us about the local businesses you're highlighting this season.
Yeah, with a lot of the travel limitations and everything that were going on, it was such an honor and privilege to be able to feature so many Michigan businesses. One of which is featured tomorrow at 1:30 on PBS, which is Yakovich Outdoors, and it's a father and son team that does a fishing charter out of Lake St. Clair. Really great story. Another one, Cochran House, Rodrika and Francina James. Bought this historic, like 1800s house near the Stadium District, renovated it to this beautiful bed and breakfast, which you can imagine were dramatically impacted.
And Gary, we saw a few shots from behind the scenes. I know from the news end of things, we are operating very differently during this pandemic. So how was it to film during the pandemic?
I mean, it was a huge challenge. I mean, our season started way later, so the deadlines were crazy, and then of course every precaution that we could take between masks and hand sanitizer and distance as much as humanly possible. It was safety was the top concern, but I will say it added a lot of time to shoot days, and it was challenging, but got to stay safe.
And obviously very important, because what is the ultimate goal with being able to feature businesses like this?
I think it's sort of like the show is a bit of even though it's a small sample size, it's a bit of a litmus test on sort of the health of small business in America. 99.9% of all U.S. businesses are small businesses. So I think it's really important to check in and just kind of see what's going on Main Street.
All right. And so how can we see Startup?
It's on Sundays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on World Channel, and that's nationwide. And then check local listings, for PBS. But it's on tomorrow at Sundays at 1:30 p.m. on PBS and World Channel. And
are you guys streaming on Amazon Prime?
Oh yeah. We the season after it does a full airing on PBS, we'll upload to Prime, and of course PBS.org.
All right. Thank you so much, Gary, the executive producer of Startup. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.